This is a big issue as well, where the National Oil Corporation of Kenya is pushing for 13 billion shillings bailout from the National Treasury to pay bank loans and meet operating costs in the latest efforts to remain afloat amid mounting losses. NOCK Chief Executive Gideon Morintat told MPs that 6.6 billion will be used to pay bank loans, 3 billion shillings for operating cost, and a further 3 billion shillings for oil exploration on Block 14T in the Rift Valley Basin. Morintat told MPs that the NOCK risk closure if Treasury does not, get this, provide the funding in the year starting July, highlighting the dire financial state of the state-owned firm. Let's just listen a bit for the former CEOs.
Few recommendations and word of advice for this parastatal. I've realized they are going through reforms and transformation. A lot has happened in this parastatal for the last 3 years. So much change, so much has been realized in the area of upstream and in the area of downstream. I want to appreciate the work they've done in ensuring the organization is profitable. As you know, this is a business, it's a national business that contributes to our exchequer. The march we've seen, the trends that are showing now, with the challenges they've been facing, of all loans, debts, of human resource issues, of competition that is challenging them. This is an area of competition. The oil sector is a very vibrant sector, and National Oil has shown it can deliver to its mandate.
Well, the question is, can it deliver to its mandate? That's the abiding question here, because the National Assembly's Energy Committee said NOCK is no longer economically viable, remember, last year, and should either be closed or sold to private investors. The lawmakers also have backed proposals by the KCB Group and Stanbic Bank to sell the loss-making company, which owes the lenders 5.9 billion shillings in loans, principal and interest. And we also had Fafi Member of Parliament Abdikarim Osman proposing that Parliament discontinues funding NOCK. Why then are we seeking money for a bailout? And he said, just to quote him, we have to ensure NOCK gets zero budget because we cannot continue pumping billions into bottomless pit that has no returns to the taxpayer. And also, we had the PS there saying, I already told the MPs that NOCK was established in 1981 at a time of high increase in crude oil prices to cushion Kenyans from price spikes. But are we feeling the cushioning from NOCK at the end of the day? And he says, I can't agree more with the MPs that we need to seriously look at the issue affecting NOCK. He says, we have received the independent business review report on NOCK business, and he said the report has 4 recommendations that include closing down the organization, initiate the processes to sell it, bring in a strategic investor, or bring in a management company to run NOCK. Let's just hear from Professor Collins Odote briefly, because I know we stopped for time. We've got around 5 minutes on this as well, just to give cursory.
Yes, 2 or 3 things in 1 minute. The first is I thought the Honorable Munyas had already resigned. I'm still seeing him speaking. That was before he left.
Yeah, that is a former, yeah, so that is a file.
The second one is it says NOCK is a business. And that's where the answer lies. If it is a business and it is loss-making, let's not use our public money to bail it out. And I think the MPs are right. The Honorable Abdikadir led a task force on restructuring of parastatals. I think we need to get out of loss-making enterprises. We need to consolidate our parastatals so that we focus on the ones that provide strategic services to the country and leave the other things for the private sector to do. Oil and the role of NOCK, I think NOCK, I agree with the MPs, I agree with the report, need not be given a bailout. 13 billion shillings is money we can use to provide for public services.
All right, do you hold the same view, Honorable Osakwa? And of course, you sit in the budget committee.
Yes, on this one, I do not think that NOCK should be one of those that should get a priority, but let us think about what it is that has put them where they are. I mean, one of the things that's put them where they are, intermediating in a sector to protect the consumer. A good economic principle would be that if you want to do that, then you have to take that off the books of the entity. So they are met by the taxpayer if that's what you want to achieve, that social goal. But I'm not sure if that's the reason why they're in the red. The oil sector has been extremely vibrant. We have been paying high prices. Governance issues are in there. Rent seeking is in there. There are very many things in there. They are not all coming out being told the way they should be told. Bottom line, don't bail them out.
Don't bail them out. Okay, let's hear from Dr. McPhee.
Well, you know, maybe I think I have a proposal here to make. Possibly, you know, we could appoint someone like Professor Kell to look at this company and find ways by which it can operate profitably. Because, you know, the fact is, as Honorable Bunyasi says, you know, what exactly is the function of NOCK? But this happens with all the parastatals. All of them are losing money. They are not run on commercial lines. If you have a business, as Professor Doty was saying, you know, is it a business? Is that its function? If that is the case, if it is a business, something seriously wrong is going on in that particular business. And unfortunately, you know, it's the case with all the parastatals. You know, not every single one, but you know, the majority of the parastatals are not being run efficiently. And you know, we've really got to understand what it is to run businesses. It's not easy to run a business. It looks very easy from outside, but when you get in there and you come across the massive stealing which occurs at all levels in Kenya, it's very difficult to make money.
All right, let's hear from Honorable Professor Kell on this as well, because it seems the most consternating thing is that even the PS himself is not really having or holding any faith as far as this NOCK is concerned. So if we don't have any goodwill from the PS himself and engineer Andrew Kamau, then what does it portend for?
I think I tend to probably agree with Dr. McPhee that one of the things that I've really observed is that when some of these institutions are created, there's sometimes a very good rationale from a public policy point of view. Obviously, there have been management and all this kind of stuff, and I think we should not lose the sight that you know, creating institution is very, very difficult, and I think also destroying them, you know, maybe there is a cost to be paid, because, and I'm not trying to justify why NOCK exists, but I'm assuming from a historical point of view, there has to be a good rationale why it was created, and, you know, maybe...
It was to cushion, of course, to cushion Kenyans from the, you know, the price spikes of fuel.
Please, and that's an important public policy issue. You know, and whether, you know, before we throw the cat out of the bag, I mean the baby out of the bag, I think it would be important for us at least either someone to look at it, you know, thoroughly, and, you know, make a recommendation whether they should be funded or not funded.
Right. So
cushion Kenyans. Now we are cushioning it.
No, we're cushioning it. It is reversed right now. But they will argue then, you know, looking at all, you know, the oil companies that we have in this country, they're all multinationals. We don't have any national, yes. Should we also just let it also go down the tube, just as, you know, the same argument is with Kenya Airways, that we need a national carrier?
Yeah, but you see the problem, and I think it is Honorable Bunyasi who said, like with all parastatals, unfortunately, they are created sometimes on a business model, but we run them on the basis of charity. So they become just a source of siphoning money. They don't become a source of serving their principle. And I think it is time for us to address our fundamentals in terms of our modalities of how we operate parastatals. Should we have parastatals only that provide public services, or should we have parastatals also that are commercial? Because it is Kenya Airways, it is NOCK. The other week we were discussing Kenya Power. So it started very well, but governance challenges end up becoming a source where people just get out resources and it becomes a burden on us as a country.
All right.
But I think,
Yes.
I think it is a very important issue.
Yes.
Where again, this local content and the fact that you need to create institution from an inside, I think for me is very, very important. Sometimes we make ourselves very vulnerable in the sense that, okay, the multinational run professionally, but in terms of local, you know, contact and whether maybe that local contribution becomes very, very important.
Thank you very much. Right, I'll be remiss, and my director is chasing me out of the studio right now, but we have corporate appointments that we need also to just bring you to the know as well, just to look at that briefly. We have Deloitte East Africa, which has appointed Anne Muraya as a new CEO. Right, Deloitte East Africa has appointed Anne Muraya as its new CEO with effect from 1st June 2022, taking over from John Ishun, who has been appointed as Deloitte Africa Managing Director for Businesses and will be the first female CEO for Deloitte East Africa, overseeing offices in Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, and other East Africa locations the firm serves, including but not limited to Rwanda, Burundi, Ethiopia, South Sudan, and Somalia. Prior to her appointment, Anne was the first female East Africa audit leader and Managing Director for responsible business and public policy for Africa. Anne Muraya holds a BEd in science, mathematics, and chemistry options from Kenyatta University. Right, we have also Mark Danford, who is a new MD at Knight Frank. Right, Frank, Kenya, a leading real estate consultancy, has announced changes to its C-suite with the appointment of Mark Danford as the new managing director. The firm also announced that Ben Woodhams will be stepping down as the managing director effective 1st April 2022 to take up a new role within its parent company, Knight Frank LLP, in the United Kingdom. Woodhams will be moving to Knight Frank's headquarters in London to run the Africa desk and the company's Africa Capital Market Service line. Danford is taking over at the real estate consultancy at a time when the real estate sector is still reeling from effects of COVID-19 pandemic. Also, we do have Kenya Bankers Association, which has appointed Christine Onyango as Communications Public Affairs Director. And she's taking from Nuru Mugambi, who has since transitioned from the association to pursue graduate studies in sustainable finance and responsible investment. She was instrumental in shaping the KBA's sustainable finance agenda, including the Kenya Green Bond Program and advancing accessibility for persons with disabilities. Until her appointment, Ms. Onyango served as I&M Bank Head of Marketing, a position she held for 10 years. A recognized business strategist, Ms. Onyango has a cumulative banking industry work experience of 19 years. She previously worked for a Fortune 500 company and one of the largest banks in the U.S., Bank of America, Credit Bank Limited, and Gulf Africa Bank. Ms. Onyango is a recognized leader in marketing, corporate communications, and business strategy, delivering results through effective marketing campaigns, brand, and relationship management. She holds a bachelor degree in business administration and management from Alberton University, Dallas, Texas, and associate degree in business administration and management from Collin County Community College, Plano, Texas. Yes, and that is the corporate appointment segment. I want to thank my panelists this morning, Professor Collins Odote, who is the Assistant Dean, Faculty of Law, University of Nairobi, also Advocate of the High Court, and also business columnist, Business Daily columnist. And we do also have the honor of hosting Professor Prof Kell, who is the Chair of Coffee Sector, of course, Implementation Committee. That is the task force that is bringing sobriety in that particular sector. Thank you very much for coming through. Also, we had with us Dr. Jim McPhee, who is the Director, School of Accountancy, that is Strathmore University, and also Bunyasi Sakwa, who is a Member of Parliament, also a consummate economist. Thank you for your valued company. Morning Prime continues. Don't go away. Thank you.